The Spurs will be one of the best teams in the NBA this year. And I'll give you three reasons why. The first is they are probably the most versatile defensive and offensive team in the league from the 1 to 10 position. If you look at every other team in the league, they're about 2 to 3 superstar, heavy up top, heavy dependence teams. Outside of Brooklyn and probably the Lakers, you don't have much to offer. There's a big drop off after that. Even with the Lakers, even though they're very deep, they are another very deep team. They fall off drastically after you get past Westbrook, LeBron, and AD. Now you look at Brooklyn, and they're pretty stacked straight through, but as well, but not defensively. They have a lot of defensive liabilities, and I think that that's going to be something they have to work on as the year goes along. Whereas the Spurs, by position, have strong to above average defenders at every position, um, at every level of depth on their roster. Now, the second reason that I feel the Spurs are going to be a very explosive team is their team speed. Very underrated. I think that Pop wants to play with heavy pace this year because he knows that with athletes like Lonnie Walker, Derek White, DeJounte Murray, Keldon Johnson, these guys in the open floor are very difficult to stop. Not only are they young, but they're also above average athletes for their age group, even though a lot of the younger generation players are very explosive as well. But to have a combination of players that have that level of athleticism and speed with quickness is not something you find around the league a lot. And also being able to put that on the offensive end in open floor, it'd be very difficult to stop when they're all four or even three of the four on the floor at the same time off of a rebound. Then the fourth reason I feel the Spurs are going to be a very dangerous team is their ability to defend the perimeter. A lot of teams go out and get a 3 and D specialist, and that person is on their team for that reason and that reason only, to play great defense on the team's best wing player, and also have the ability to spread the floor on the offensive end. Now the Spurs, on the other hand, have multiple potential D and 3 level scorer players. So you have guys like Murray, who to me is top 3 defensive point guards in the league. Then you add to that Derek White, who could potentially be a top 5, 10 wing defender for the 2 guard position or from the point guard position if you put him there. Then you have uh, Lonnie Walker, who has the ability to continuously get better at the defensive end, but with his quickness and athleticism, he's going to be a nightmare for teams to defend. And I haven't even mentioned him so far this video, but Devin Vassell is already an elite defender at his position in only his rookie season. When he gets, and he's not really an on-ball great defender per se, but he wreaks havoc as a team defender and as a help defender. He does do very well once he does get on the ball. So I feel that there's no team in the league with 3 high-level wing defenders at the same time, and that's going to pose a danger for any team that thinks they're going to come in and just run all over the Spurs because they're young or they don't have a superstar. Now, the other factor, and I should have said 4, is that I've been watching the Spurs for a very long time, and the most intriguing thing about this team is you combine the versatility of these young guys with the mind of Popovich, who I think needed this boost of kind of freedom, this little freedom that he has now, to kind of just play the game and let it all hang out, because he hasn't had that in the last 2 years. When you have one superstar or 2 stars and you're paying $50 million to over the course of a year, you have to make them earn that money. So Aldridge and DeRozan pretty much handcuffed the team in terms of touches. And while they were good, they're good, great players, and potentially both Hall of Famers if DeRozan can continue on his trajectory and maybe even go deep into the playoffs again in the East. Um, they're good players, but it made the Spurs predictable. Now, with the amount of weapons that Pop has at his disposal this year, I think he's never had that amount of weapons. Not to say he hasn't had better weapons per se, but the amount of weapons he has and the different areas that these weapons could attack you from, or be used to attack you, the Spurs haven't seen. So for all Spurs fans and all non-Spurs fans, I would say stop listening to the national media and people who've never even watched one of these kids or one of the Spurs games that are talking about, oh, the Spurs are going to finish in the lottery and all this stuff. And the only teams they know are the Nets and the Lakers and all the top 10 teams in the league. They don't even follow the Spurs because there's no one with two eyes that could have seen Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, Lonnie Walker, um, um, know who Doug knows, Doug McDermott. No one really follows him, but if you really pay attention to his career, Brendan Forbes, these guys, these are not bottom of the mill NBA players. You put them together, not easy to beat. And NBA players, the ones that play in the league, will tell you they're not going to be looking forward to playing the Spurs once these guys mature and get their confidence. There's a lot to have to handle, and especially with Pop at the helm. Take care, Spurs fans. Look forward to a great season.